Okay, we're live gamers.
Oh snap.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So yeah,
Alright.
for this epic Super Mario World 95 exit no cape race, we've got some commentary from Brams and Dots. Say hello, guys.
Hello guys.
Hello.
Thanks for doing this for me. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
And yeah, so if both Umar and Louis are ready, I'm gonna be giving a countdown. Should I remove decimal places to make it like Louis'? No, that's fine, that's fine. Timer really doesn't matter too much, the way it looks on stream. Alright. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Smurf!
Smurf!
Good luck, runners.
Good luck. Don't get cape. Getting cape would be bad.
Is getting cape an
opposite
instant reset?
Well, not really in this setting, but
Okay.
I believe the rule is if you get a cape accidentally somehow, it's actually pretty hard to accidentally get a cape. But if you do, it's pretty much just die as soon as possible and restart the level.
Yeah,
I
makes
believe
sense.
that's the rules for like submitting stuff. But, you know, we're not gonna make the boys reset this if they get a cape. That would be kind of bad. But like I said, it's really hard to accidentally get a cape. There aren't many places where it's kind of in your way or something.
If you never mess up, it's hard. But like, there are some places where if you're getting backup power-ups after you're messing up, you can maybe accidentally grab a cape out of roulette block. But
Yeah,
hopefully
you have
that
to
doesn't
be
happen.
like bad to do that, and I did that twice today when I did a run.
Whoops.
Why I brought it up.
Classic.
It can definitely happen.
Yeah, it can happen. It can happen. I was doing like one run to refresh my memory on how this category works and got cape twice. It was really great. But anyway, if you've seen S&W before, World 1 looks exactly the same as every other category, and that's because there's like no capes here. So it's very standard. The first difference will be immediately following Castle 1. And also differences after Castle 1. The route is very different from 96, which is something you might not expect. So 96 exit takes the fastest overworld path in most places. There's some times when you have to do some backtracking. But the 95 no cape route is actually a little bit slower on the overworld, but there's good reasons to do that, which we'll talk about later. And actually, there was a route made a long time ago by a runner named Waz. I think he made the route. But it was recently rerouted, and by recently I mean probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was recently rerouted by none other than Dots with some other additions made by Sten. I personally like this route a lot more. There's more blue Yoshi, which is very important.
More blue Yoshi, less red Yoshi.
Yeah, less red Yoshi. Blue Yoshi is pretty much the cape of no cape categories, because you can just grab a shell and fly over everything, which is how you're supposed to play the game in S&W.
Mhm.
Yeah. Standard.
Umar took the cages very safe in Castle 1, and I can't blame him, because you can fall in the ravioli pretty easily there. There aren't too many autoscrollers, by the way. There's this, which is pretty quick. There's one really long one, Butterbridge 1. And then there's
Yeah.
another fairly long one in Forest. But most of this game is flying over stuff. I mean, exciting platforming.
You can't forget about Donut Plains too.
Oh, of course, Donut Plains too. How did I forget
You have
that?
to do that one twice.
You do have to do that one twice. But you can actually do cool stuff in that level, so it's fine. That doesn't even count.
It's an interesting autoscroller.
It is interesting. Something else to note, I guess, right off the bat, you might have noticed that the gamers here skipped YI1, which is the level to the left. I guess in 95, it doesn't really matter because you don't have a cape, so it's not faster to fly through those levels. But I think people just do the same World 1 route because why not? But after Special World, after you beat Special World, I should say, the game sends you to Yoshi's house again. So actually, they're going to be skipping a lot of levels in the first 3 worlds, and they'll just come back and do them later. But now we actually get to look at exciting platforming. This is normally a flyover in 96, but you get to do some fun stuff. And actually, you can abuse Yoshi. You can actually gain a lot of height if you dismount him, and that gets you up to the key pretty quickly.
Kill the animals.
Yes, I agree.
Well, you could argue he's not actually being killed in this level, but you can't say the same later on.
Yeah, that's true. You just leave him behind at the end of that stage.
Yeah, true.
Another fun little tidbit here. In this level, in cape categories, you go into the sub-level and grab a Koopa shell, because for whatever reason you swim about twice as fast when you're holding an item. But it's not really possible to grab that Koopa without cape, and it would be slower to go in the drive room anyway, so you just swim until the P-switch. Nice, no one got hit by the fish at the end either. That's good.
Very mean fish can steal your power-ups. It's the bane of World 2 resets, even in 96.
Yeah, that fish is terrible. So normally, in 96, you would enter that ghost house and do the secret exit, but that's actually the exit that you can't do without cape, so just immediately going back to the water level here. And I believe... I'm not really sure exactly what Umar does, but I'm pretty sure everybody's going to stay as Fire Mario and possibly deboost through the next ghost house, which is also another awful stage in every category. It's the worst. It's just really hard. And the
Since
boo
when
ring
ghost
can just
house-
screw you over.
Since when ghost house are good levels?
Good point. That's actually a good point. All ghost houses suck all the time. So these boo rings in this stage, they initially start in the same position every time, but then when they load the next time, they will spawn in the position that they despawned in before. So you kind of have to keep track of what the positioning is in between not only just the rooms of this level, but also the next time you come back and visit it. And there's also another stage later in the game that has boo rings as well.
And you
And
can see
also,
that
you can
Louis
clip
actually
through the
got
stairs.
the clip through the
Yeah.
stairs at the start. It's actually a pretty difficult and precise trick to do that, but the fact that it's right at the start of the level, Mario's subpixel is like super consistent, and all you have to do is just jump at a certain spot at the bottom of the stairs, and you can get it half the
Yeah,
time.
it's not too bad. It's almost consistent, but I wouldn't call it consistent. It doesn't hurt to go for it, for sure. So after this ice level here, you're going to start to see some wackiness with the overworld route. But it's okay, I promise. Don't worry.
Yeah, this route that both the runners are doing now kind of prioritizes getting Special World done as quickly as possible. Mainly because the levels there are really difficult, and it's a high reset point, so you get that done, get that out of the way as soon as possible to like save real life time.
Mm-hmm. Also, Louis died. Oh yeah, also, some fun fact. Louis literally got the world record in this category yesterday, so that's pretty epic.
Yeah, it was pretty epic.
It was a long-standing world record, too. I think Calco had it before. I think he had it for like 2 years or something.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Louis,
Or
that's because
pretty
Louis is a
clean.
god gamer.
Well, yeah. that goes without saying. And not to Umar's discredit, he has a 1:31.41, which is a pretty respectable time, and he only started running this category like a month ago when they decided to do this race. So
Oh, I thought he
Umar
already
has
had a
leveled
time when Louis approached him for a race, so
As
Yeah.
far as I know, he didn't.
Yeah.
Props to him for sure. Then.
Yeah.
That
Umar
was
is
the
also
main
God.
motivating factor of learning the category was doing this race. So.
Mhm.
That said, Umar did already have like a pretty good no cape no Star World time, which helps. But that's only 31 out of 95 exits.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Star
like-
World 1 here is actually, you have to get the mushroom there, or else you can't break these yellow blocks. And also, there are no zips in this category, because you need cape to do that.
Thank goodness.
So the route, yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
The route to this stage is a little different, because you have to find the gaps in the turn blocks there to go through. Saves, you know, a little bit of time, having to not break a couple extra blocks here and there.
Shout out to Zipping and killing yourself in that stage.
Yeah. Thankfully,
I've
that's
a couple
not-
of times casually.
Yeah, thankfully you can't do that in this category.
Thank God.
There are a lot of bad things about 95 no cape, but there are a few good things, and not having to zip is definitely one of those good things. So all of the red dots on the overworld are levels that have 2 exits, and most of the time it's a goalpost exit and a key exit. So that's why we're coming back here again, by the way.
And interestingly, another fun fact about this overworld route, coming through Star World this first time, you get 9 out of the 10 exits, and it's Star World 2, this level that has a blue Yoshi. The normal exit is the one that we save for later, specifically because we have to come back here to get that blue Yoshi again, and we might as well just get that exit then, rather than entering the level a third time.
Yeah. Saves a little bit of time to do that. So feeding the Yoshi at the end of this stage is actually not trivial. If you drop the mushroom too early, Yoshi won't grab it, and then you have to kind of save yourself. If you drop it too late, Mario will grab it and it'll just go to the item box again. It can be pretty wild. And then also, if you don't turn around after Yoshi grabs the mushroom, he'll grow up in the wall, and then you can't get him. He'll just be
Zip up the
unobtainable.
ceiling, be gone.
Jeez.
So you actually have to time that pretty well.
Easy exit.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Star World 3 normal exit is super easy, but secret exit is
Not trivial at
Stupid.
all, especially when you have the blue Yoshi with you. Like,
yeah.
normally it's pretty easy to just throw a throw block up at Lactu and kill him, but since you're on Yoshi, you can't do that, so you have to dismount him, and it just wastes more time, gives Lactu more chances of throwing spinies at you, and it can go south pretty quickly.
Yeah,
the
Lamar
levels-
struggled a bit there,
Yeah.
so Louis was able to catch up.
Because we the God Gamer.
Louis is a god gamer. So here's one of the first instances of Blue Yoshi being OP. You don't actually need a blue shell to fly with Blue Yoshi. You can grab any color shell you want, which is pretty great. But also, I think Louis goes for a crazy strat where he runs on some platforms in this level, which saves frames. Because, say it with me, he's a god gamer. But I'm not really sure. I don't know what Umar does. Honestly, I haven't been watching Umar play this category at all, so he might do different stuff. And also, you have to recycle the shells every once in a while, because you can't just keep them in your mouth forever. Yoshi will eventually just swallow them. So doing that is called swirpy, and a lot of the time you want to do it on the ground instead of in the air, because doing it in the air sucks. And also, Louis lost Yoshi, which is bad.
Oh.
Damn.
Really want to hang on to the blue Yoshi, because some of these strats in these levels rely on you having a blue Yoshi. If you don't have a blue Yoshi, then it's basically impossible.
Yeah, pretty much. Star World 5 is a bad level to go in without Yoshi.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of ground in that level. But this is still anybody's race. Special World is coming up, and that is also full of stupid levels that could go wrong horribly.
And I hate Special World.
Yeah.
Tubular being a notable example. I hate that stage so much.
Yeah, hopefully both of the runners will get a cool trick in Tubular to skip the entire level. But there is a scary looking backup strat in case they don't.
Yeah, I seen Louis do it.
So, like Dot said before, you only get 9 of the exits in Star World, and Star World 5 secret here is the 9th, and that'll take you to Special World. So the first 2 stages, ideally, we dupe some blocks to get wings, and it's busted, really. and it's really hard in no cape as well, because the frame window for actually duping the block, I've heard a lot of people say is only 1 frame. I'm not sure if that's actually true or not.
According to Umar, there's a certain like jump height you can get that can make it a 4-frame window, but it's pretty precise.
Yeah. I mean, even 4 frames is really precise. But basically, all you have to do is dupe these turn blocks into the Dragon Coin, and that'll produce a block that either has wings, a key, a P-balloon, or
Shell.
something else. Yes, the shell. I was blanking. But this one just so happens to be wings, so you can just grab them right away. And then in Tubular, you literally just throw the P-switch into the wall, and then it will dupe that P-balloon block over and over and over and over again, and then you get wings. So you don't have to do Tubular, which is epic, because that stage is awful.
Dope.
This trick is also awful.
That's pretty based. Yeah, Tubular is an awful level.
Yeah.
Worst level in the game, in my opinion.
There are worse ones, trust me.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Bad
particularly
level.
despise Tubular, to be honest.
It's a hard level casually. A lot of people remember it for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
So the wings in Way Cool that you saw Umar get are actually there normally. That's a real wings block, so you just get that to go to the coin heaven, and it's way faster than going to the end of the stage. Way Cool, by the way, which is the stage that both guys just finished, is actually way more interesting in 95 because you actually have to do platforming. But in 96, you literally fly over the whole thing.
Cape is broken.
Cape is broken. So the next couple levels here, Awesome, which is the ice stage, and Groovy, the one after that, are fairly straightforward. You pretty much just get a shell and fly to the end. So hopefully nobody messes that up. That would be pretty bad. But after those 2 stages is probably the worst one in Special World, in my opinion. Mondo, which is the water level. I don't even think I have to explain why it's bad. You'll just see it when they get there. It's the worst.
It's pretty slow, yeah.
I was wondering if Arc was possible without Cape, so now I have my answer.
Yeah, Arc, not so much, but GBK, actually, there are 2 boss kills for these 2 stages, and the one in Groovy is possible, but getting the right power-ups and setting up is fairly difficult, because you have to get hit and then grab the fire that comes out of your item box, so nobody really does it. I'm not sure if it would even save time, because you'd have to get a fire power somewhere. But yeah, now you see Umar going through Mondo, which is
Completely awful.
literally you just have to wait there before getting on the platform and just have to keep jumping out of the water. Bad level. Really bad level.
Umar was able to get P-speed there running backwards just in the nick of time before that water came up.
Yeah, that's pretty tight actually. Getting P-speed there is fairly difficult. But it saves a lot of time over not having P-speed, that's for sure. Louis did it too there. This stage is also known for being extremely laggy, especially at the end. Unfortunately, I don't really think there's much you can do in 95 to reduce the lag except for going off screen. But if you stay on screen, it gets really bad. So now, this stage that Umar is in is outrageous, and it is pretty outrageous, actually. You have to grab this spring with Yoshi, which is a very tight jump, actually, to grab the spring and then make it over the bullet bill launcher. And then you need to keep Yoshi so you can ditch him to get over that pipe. So losing Yoshi in Mondo or something is actually extremely costly, because Outrageous is another stage where it's like, if you don't have Yoshi, you're gonna have big problems. And then, of course, you take that D boost there to get through the other Hammer Bro, which helps you get to the end.
That ending was super clanch.
Yeah, so the ending of that stage is
That was really
wild.
good. Wow.
There's a bullet bill launcher, a wiggler, and a hammer bro, all in the vicinity of like 3 tiles. So it can be pretty spooky at the end.
Luckily, nobody died in that level.
Yeah, that
It's a
level you
quite
can
a
leave
trek
lot
to
of
go
time.
get your Yoshi and power-ups again for that.
Yeah. So Funky is a very long level, but it's not too bad, even though you're small Mario. It's actually a lot of fun. One of my favorites in Special. There really isn't much to say, other than at the beginning you might have seen Umar and you will see Louie grab this blue shell, which you can throw at the wall instead of having to go up and around that section or something, which would be slow. And then of course you are super player.
You are a super player. Yeah,
Not in the Japanese version.
Yes.
Yeah, Japanese version is you are super player.
Even though there's less letters there, the level is actually the same length. On the US version, the letters just start earlier. So it's the same length of level. It's not
Oh,
any
okay, yeah.
So now, after you beat Special World, also the Overworld palette changes. You notice that Yoshi's Island was fairly red and orange, kind of looked like autumn. And along with that, some enemies also changed. So these are piranha plants, but they look like pumpkins. Because sure, why not?
Classic.
One thing that actually is important is some Koopas will change color, actually. So ones that are red before are now blue, which is advantageous because blue makes Yoshi fly. There's, I believe, one level later on where you have a green Yoshi, and a shell you grab is now blue instead of
Done
red.
planes 3 and 4, you can fly.
Yeah,
on.
those. Also, VS1. Is Yellow Switch the first Switch Palace? I just noticed that. That's
It is.
really wild. Usually it's not, but there are 4 Switch Palaces in the game. And nice, Umar,
Yup.
gaming. There's a 1-frame jump, and if you get it, you look cool, and if you don't, you don't. It doesn't save any time. It looks
Swag.
cool. We call those yumps.
If you don't get
So
it, you
hopefully
look
we see
pathetic as Mario just stands on the flattened switch, hovering in air like
Yep.
Louie.
Good job, Louie. You suck. So, as you saw, and as I mentioned before, Special World takes you to the beginning of the game. So now they're going to be cleaning up all the levels they skipped before in Worlds 1 and 2. World 3 is still kind of weird. In 96, you've already done a lot of World 3 before Special, but in 95, you do it all after Special, but you still split it up. Because, as Dots mentioned before, we do have to go back to Star World 2 for another Blue Yoshi. Another little thing, actually, is you notice that they skipped the mid-tapes in YI1 and in DP1 here. And that's a very tiny time saver, because there are pipes coming up in DP2, and the animation of Mario exiting the pipe actually takes longer when he's Big Mario, because he's taller, so it takes longer to get out of the pipe. Little fun fact. It's not a huge time save or anything, but it's something, that's for sure. And I guess you want to save as much time as you can in the auto-scroller. This auto-scroller, by the way, in 96, you can do a pipe fly, which is cape mechanics, which I won't talk about. But in this category, you can't do that because you need a cape. But instead, you can take a Buzzy Beetle and bounce off of it mid-air. I'm not sure if Umar does that, but I've definitely seen Louie do it before. It looks pretty cool. I have no idea how they do it. It's pretty hard. But it saves a little tiny bit of time, so you don't have to wait to jump into the pipe. You can get into it as early as possible. 2.5 seconds. There you go.
Yep, Louie's
Yeah,
gonna
Louie's-
Louie's... It looks like.
Yeah, you set it up with that Buzzy Beetle in particular. And after you beat Special World, the Buzzy Beetles don't shake before they wake up, so it can be kind of hard to tell when they're about to wake up. There you go.
Perfect.
It looks really cool. But is hard. Hard, though, if you will.
Yo, dope.
Umar is 2 for 2 on those yumps,
Yo, grats on the yump.
That's
Which is-
a cool strat.
arguably more important than the Buzzy Bounce.
Yes, significantly more important than the actual run.
Yeah,
Hopefully
honestly, I
we-
don't know how Louis can come back from this at this point.
Oh my god, and he messed up the
Definitely not
second
like
yump. Now it's definitely over.
I think his finished right here.
Swag percent.
Hey, Umar's on pace for 4 out of 4 yumps, which is huge, honestly.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, we do have to do this auto-scroller twice, because there are 2 exits. But,
Excellent.
Ooh! Umar just got a wall
Got
jump.
that wall jump both
That was
times.
sweet. Literally no reason to do that wall jump, other than to look cool.
That's a reason.
You right.
That's plenty of reason.
So you can mess around a lot in this level, but you have to be kind of careful, because if you get hit or something, Yoshi will go running, and it's possible for him to like run, and then you can't get him anymore because he's on the other side of a sandbar.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to be a little careful, but not too careful.
This level is really weird.
Yeah. So Louis messed up the Buzzy Bounce there, but luckily you can just jump in the pipe and no big deal. All right,
Completely
Umar's moving
necessary
on to this ghost house, which is the ghost house that you skip earlier because you can't do the secret exit, but you can do normal exit. So we got to do that because we have to get all the exits.
Yeah, this is the source of the 95 as opposed to 96 exits.
Indeed. Now, before any of the smart Alex in chat correct me, it is possible to do that exit without cape, but you have to do some glitches that are not allowed in this category.
Heck.
Heck, indeed. So, as Dots mentioned before, you can just get a blue shell here in DP3 and fly over the whole thing, which is good because this is another stage there's not a lot of ground and it's hard to do the platforming. So it's nice to be able to just skip it all. Another thing coming up actually is the Morton fight. And it's actually faster to shoot 2 fireballs and stomp them on the head instead of doing 3 stomps. So the guys here will have to pick up fire flowers, and the best place to do that in the route is DP4. There's actually a roulette block, which you can hit and do a little turn back and get the fire flower. Looks pretty cool. And it saves a decent chunk of time. I think it's like 4 or 5 seconds for Morton boss. So it's definitely significant.
If you just noticed, Louis actually did not fly over DP3, and that's because there are a bunch of these rotating platforms, and if you run on them while they're moving to the right, they boost you forward just a tiny bit. So it is a little bit of a time save to do that instead.
Once again, saving the frames.
Save the
Yep.
frames.
Louis a god gamer.
Can you really call him a god gamer if he has no yumps?
That is... That's an interesting question.
420.
I would still call him a god
Screen.
gamer.
You're nice.
My board feels bad, man.
Morton's castle here is a lot more interesting without cape, because with cape you can skip that entire second room that Umar just did, but you have to fly up to the bonus pipe at the top of room 1, which you obviously can't do without cape. So you have to navigate up the staircase and through the interesting second room. Then, of course, you can't do Morton Fly here in the vertical part, so you have to kind of wait a little bit more. But you'll notice that they're taking the springs with them, and they're going to use that at the end to boost up to the top, instead of waiting for another cycle. Kind of have to put it in the right spot and then not get hit by the dry bones like Umar did, but you know, it's fine.
Ouch, he took damage right at the end.
So now you'll see the difference between not having fire and having fire, assuming Louis doesn't get hit here.
It's the same kind of thing as SMB3, where you have fire and you get to kill the boss in a couple of seconds, and you don't, and you have to jump on him 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise,
Except in this game...
2
oh, go ahead.
fireballs and a stomp.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the
You
like
hit the caster,
hit
yeah.
marker is mixed up between stomps and fireballs. So 2 fireballs, 1 stomp kills them.
Yeah, that's what it looks like when you have fire. It's just over.
It's fast. You can just throw
Morton is
fireballs.
suspended.
You can just throw fireballs. I think it's 12, but it takes longer to do that, so don't do that. Alright, time for World 3. World 3 is interesting. There's a lot of trade-offs in World 3 in 95 compared to 96. A lot of the stuff is more difficult, but some of it is way, way easier, as a matter of fact. So first off, we have to get the secret exit here in VD1, which is another one of those weird overworld route things. But the reason that we're doing this, actually, is to unlock the Star Warp that's by Vanilla Secret 1. Because if you remember from earlier, Dots mentioned a couple times that we're going back to Star World 2 for another Yoshi, and the Star Warp by Star World 2 actually takes you to World 3 here. So we want to have that one open, so that after we visit Star World 2 again, we can do less overworld route, or less overworld walking, I should say, to get to where we left off here. So they're going to be doing VD1 Secret and then VS1 Secret, Vanilla Secret 1 Secret. Vanilla Secret 1 Secret. It's my favorite
There's a
level
lot
name.
of secret exits in Vanilla Dome.
That there are. Yeah, a little tiny thing you might have seen. They bounced on those green beans, we call them. Gives you a little bit of a vertical boost, which is
You know, they're
helpful.
clearly peas. They're not.
They
green.
are, but they're green beans. So, similar to Gnarly and Tubular, like you saw earlier in Special, you get wings in this level, Vanilla Dome 1. These wings save way, way more time than those wings, though. These save about 45 seconds, probably, if you do them well. And they're still extremely hard without cape. But it's the same premise. You just dupe the blocks into the Dragon Coin, and then the block that you get here is a key block, so you have to dupe that to the right, and then you get wings. Dupes are hard, though.
There it is.
Louis took a hit there,
Fit-
but it's actually not a big deal, because you take a hit in the next stage anyway.
Yeah, you damage boost intentionally. 10 billion fakes, by the way.
Yeah, it took a while
Yeah.
for Louis. Umar, I think, got it second try him.
Yeah, something like
His
that.
first dupe took a little longer, but he got the second one right away.
Mm.
Yeah, even though Louis got 350 wings there, that still saved time over doing the level normally. Believe it or not. That level's very long and stupid. So in 96, you can do a clip for the key exit in the water level here, Vanilla Dome 2. But you actually can't do that in 95 because when you go out of bounds, there's no water physics, so you would actually just fall into the pit there. But in 96, you have a cape and you can actually just barely float across and dismount Yoshi. Looks like Umar missed the third
Umar
jump, but that's
just-
okay. He's still up 2.
Right, he's giving Louis time to make a comeback.
And
Yum.
let's go.
Easy game.
Not really sure if there's anything else to say about VD2. I guess you go above the water here. So normally in 96 you keep going through the water, but in 95 you actually go above because you're small and you can run through these tiny gaps on the turn blocks. Then you can also hit the P-switch and go through the end section like this.
Yeah, otherwise you'd have to like wait for the chucks to break it, and it's a whole
Exactly.
not fast thing.
It's definitely not fast. So earlier I was talking about the boo rings in Donut's Secret House, and Vanilla Ghost House here is actually the level in which they return. So I'd be surprised if they actually remember what their boo rings are like, especially if they made mistakes. But if you don't make mistakes, they're pretty predictable. But as you saw, the boo ring was kind of not favorable, so it gave Umar a little bit of time to get that power up, which will be possibly useful here because this boo ring is in a very terrible spot and you can just deboost through it. If you have a good boo ring though, you can actually jump over it and land on that question mark block. But it's
pretty next level.
It's next level, and if the boo ring is ever so slightly off, you'll probably get hit. So you see Louie's grabbing this mushroom here too. Don't want to risk it. Then room 2 is fairly straightforward. You just have to bounce on those snot bubbles. Not really sure what those are actually called. I just call them snot bubbles.
Big green circles.
Big green circles, sure.
They're not even in the credits, so...
Yeah,
They're not important.
don't know what to call them.
Green bubbles.
Blobs.
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 So Vanilla Dome 3 here is the beginning is quite a bit slower than 96 because you can't fly over this lava part, I should say. But you do get to take this Buzzy Beetle shell and do kind of a cool wall shell jump. It's pretty precise, and if you miss it, it's no big deal. Like you saw Umar just landed on this skull raft. You just have to ride the bottom part here. Shell jump is pretty precise, but it does skip this whole section that Umar is doing right now. So maybe Louie will get it and save some time.
Yeah.
You do have to throw the shell quite early though, or else the Buzzy Beetle will wake up, and then that's bad. So there you go, Louie got it.
Yeah, unfortunate, yeah.
And another trade-off of 95 No Cape, the route, is that the shell here that Umar grabbed is blue. Normally it's red, so you can actually just take it and fly over the next whole lava section. It's actually possible to skip that raft with Cape, but it involves much more precise Yoshi fly trickery. So it's definitely nice just to have the blue shell here in 95. Likewise, in VD4 here, there's another blue shell, and there's a category called All Castles, where you have to get all the castles. And the No Cape variant plays this stage, but that shell at the beginning isn't blue, so you actually have to jump through this level, and it's very hard. So thankfully there's a blue Koopa here.
Yeah, this level is tough.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy.
The location that the bullet bills, or rather the pidget bills,
Yeah, they're Pidget Bills now.
on is determined by the random number generator. Which in this level, since like there's not very much stuff that uses the random number generator, it's pretty easy to get consistent. However, not the position, but the timing of the bullets is global frame dependent, so it just depends on when you enter the level from the overworld, and that'll tell when the bullets spawn, so it's never completely consistent.
I have a quick
Birds are
question, by the way.
Sure.
You're playing on Japanese, right? Does the Japanese faster for some reason, or?
You know, I am surprised I haven't mentioned that yet, actually. So, Japanese actually does save over 20 seconds over NTSCU, and that's simply because the save boxes are a little bit smaller on this version, and therefore take less time to go away. And also, the Switch Palaces have like some weird loading that happens on the US, or it's like, it takes longer to fade out. I don't really know what's going on. So, that saves about 3 seconds per Switch Palace.
That's weird.
Damn,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So over the course of the whole run, it saves 21 seconds to play on JP. But other than that, there aren't really any significant version differences.
Gotcha.
Well, you can eat the dolphins on the Japanese version. That's significant.
God,
Oh yeah, it's
Yoshi food.
Yoshi food, by the way.
So what you may have missed in that previous room is that there is a section where the floor is about to sink into lava, but if if Big Mario can squeeze into the little gap that appears, you can actually get P-Speed just in time to make it over that big gap. That jump is pretty free with the cape, but without the cape, you have to do a whole couple screens of setup to maintain your P-Speed, and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool to see both of the runners get that.
Yeah, and if it goes wrong, you will most likely fall in the lava and die. And then you have to redo all of that. So Cheese Bridge area here is another stage that's extremely interesting in 95 no cape. So with the cape, you can just fly over the whole stage. I don't know if you gathered that at this point. But in 95, you actually have to take these saws and bounce on them. You could ride the platforms, but that's significantly slower than bouncing on the saws here. And bouncing on the saws, it doesn't really look that hard, but if you do it wrong, they won't be lined up, and it's possible, like Louis just did,
what he was doing there.
it's possible not to spawn the one that moves to the right at the beginning. So you kind of need that one, or else you can't go to the right. And if that happens, you kind of have to go back to the beginning and back it up there, but it's usually difficult because one of the platforms despawns.
This is going to be a huge time loss, actually. I have to go back and get another Blue Yoshi.
Yeah, so Blue Yoshi, like we've been saying, is super important. So you actually need to go back for him, and the best place to do that is Star World 2. A lot of overworld movement, but it is what it is.
He's not unlocked Stowe Lake
Nope.
yet. He's not going that star.
But that's where it takes you, in case you were curious. You might have seen Umar try to grab a fire flower out of that roulette block, by the way, in Cookie Mountain. Not a big deal if you don't get it. There's a flower in Soda Lake, but it looks pretty cool if you do it right. And the best part about Cheesebridge area is that you get to do the saw bounces twice, because there's 2 exits.
Yo, sick.
And actually, as much as we're talking about keeping Blue Yoshi, you actually have to murder him at the end of this level to get the secret exit. Because the gold tape is quite a bit further back than the normal exit, but you have to go under the normal exit gold tape, and to do that you have to ditch Yoshi to get back up to the ground.
Oh,
Louis just
Louis
taking the L
died.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
The saw bounces is rough, yeah.
Yeah, Cheesebridge area is really hard.
Well, see you, Yoshi. Kill the animals.
Yeah, Yoshi's
Good
gone.
one.
Yoshi dead.
So you can see through the second playthrough Cheesebridge from Umar, he hit the midway tape, and that was on purpose, just in case he messed up the ending. Sometimes the hitboxes with the saws and Yoshi can be a little weird, so you can just phase right through them. But if that happens, you can pause the start select and start from the midway point instead of the beginning of the level. It's just
Correct.
a very easy to do backup strat. And
Louis fell off the rope.
he went too far off the bottom of the rope and just slid off. And
Yeah.
he didn't hit the midway, so he has to do the whole thing again.
Yeah,
Unfortunate.
that's what we in the industry like to call a blow up.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
So I wonder now, since Louis is just gonna go for the regular exit as Small Mario, is he gonna do a different route to maybe get a more optimal Blue Yoshi, and then maybe do the secret exit in this level afterwards?
So thankfully, you don't actually need Blue Yoshi for the secret exit, because there aren't any Koopas to grab, and there just so happens to be a Yoshi block in Cookie Mountain. So
Oh!
if he does it right, which hopefully he does, he'll grab the Yoshi in Cookie Mountain and then just come back and do Cheesebridge Secret. Because the blue Yoshi that you actually need is in Star World 2, which Umar is getting right now.
Mm.
So you don't actually need to have a blue Yoshi for CBA, luckily.
Okay, that's pretty convenient.
But if you did, then yeah, there would probably have to be some funny business to get Yoshi. But Louis finally beat CBA. Very good. He's a god gamer, everybody. Don't forget.
Now, the blue Yoshi that Umar is feeding right now is the same blue Yoshi that he's going to want to keep all the way until Forest of Illusion. There's level Forest Secret Area that's basically just like riding a platform auto-scroller. But if he happens to keep that blue Yoshi, he can use it to fly through the level. But there's no other like blue Yoshi or wings in between then and now, so hopefully he doesn't lose this blue Yoshi, or else he has to come all the way back, or lose about a minute on Forest Secret Area.
That stage is very, very long. So, don't mess up. It's the moral of the story.
Imagine not messing up. Yeah.
You know, it don't always be that way. But sometimes it do.
Sometimes it really do be like that.
It'd be like that. Yeah.
So now Umar is progressing to the top bridge, which contains some of, if not the, most boring stages in the entire game.
Hell yeah.
2 flyovers, then a very long water fortress, then a 2-minute auto-scroller, then another flyover, and then an interesting castle.
I better see some pastas in the chat for Butter Bridge 1.
Bring your rope update, guys.
So, oof, I guess, is...
Burn your bridge update.
Oof is what the kids say, yeah.
Oof, F.
That's why Louis decided to fall behind, so that we'd have something interesting to watch while Umar goes through the boring part.
Exactly. And actually, yeah, Umar sarcastically corrected me here. VS3 is not a flyover because you don't have a cape. You actually have to jump on the dolphins, so it's interesting. My fault. Or you can just fall in the water like Umar did. That's completely fine too, and definitely not slow.
Or just eat dolphins.
Yoshi food.
Yoshi food?
Yeah, it's actually not... You don't have to eat the dolphins. I don't think it's any faster or slower to do so. People just like to do it. I am not one of those people.
You can. That's the important part.
Yeah, the important part is that you can.
Dolphins are slower interesting than just jumping over in the water. That's, I thought the dolphins was faster.
Yeah, dolphins are definitely faster, but unfortunately they don't last the whole level, so you still have to jump through the water at the end, which kind of sucks.
Oh boy, 2 water levels at the same time.
My favorite. So something that makes water level more interesting is that Mario swims faster when he carries things, but there's nothing to grab onto in these stages, so you just have to go slow.
Yeah.
This is in the speedrun.
It's very unfortunate that you don't have anything to carry, especially in the fortress. I feel like if you had like an item, and it would make dodging those fish bones pretty interesting and challenging.
Yeah, it would definitely be pretty challenging, and the ball and chains as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a shame. On the practice cart, you can put a shell in your item box and drop it, so I guess that could be a fun challenge to do on the practice cart, but unfortunately not really feasible for the main game here.
The based practice hack actually made by Dots, so shouts.
Hey, that's me.
That's you.
Holy crap,
Yo.
that is you. So yeah, here's the 2-minute auto-scroller coming up for Umar. You can make it kind of fun if you grab a shell and just fly under all the platforms, but it's, you know, risky. I don't know if he'll do that, because he's on actually
He's
pretty
probably
big
gonna
PB
do it.
pace right now, but
On the run of his life.
He really is.
he might be.
He's a minute ahead of his PB coming out of World 3, and I know that he has like a split with a minute and a half of time save coming out.
Yeah.
Just don't die in the auto-scroller by accident, please.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
Dying is bad, but you also have to remember that even just getting hit off of Yoshi is bad, because this is the blue Yoshi that we need for Secret Area. So you definitely don't want to lose him. And also you want to keep Fire Flower as well for the Ludwig boss fight. For whatever reason, Ludwig, having fire for that fight actually saves... well over 10 seconds. I think it's about 14 seconds over just stomping on his head 3 times. And that's just because Ludwig decides to go in his shell and like roll deep across the entire room for some reason. It's a dumb boss fight, but if you have fire, it's not too bad. Yeah, Umar's stressing me out with these like shell grabs and platform decisions. I can't say that I approve, but it's okay.
That's pretty monk ass.
Are we feeding Yoshi in VS3?
Yoshi's hungry. He needs a snack.
Yoshi food.
And an interesting thing about this level actually is that when you jump on the dolphins, especially the ones at the beginning of the level, they're moving leftward. So the longer you stay on them, the slower you're gonna beat the level. So you want to try to not jump on the dolphins as much as possible.
Yeah, and Umar just lost Blue Yoshi, so that sucks.
Ouch.
There's really nothing else to say about it other than that sucks. You can get a Yoshi in FY1, and now he's lost his fire. This stage is just the worst.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Like the platforming itself isn't too bad. The thing that makes that level really bad is all of the like Koopas and Super Koopas and all that crap flying at you. That makes it really awful. And it looks like he's opting just to go back to Star World 2 for a Yoshi. That is probably the play. He has to go back anyway, so you might as well get the blue one. And it isn't too much extra overworld movement, although it is some. But yeah, that's a pretty costly Yoshi loss / death there. And at this point, there's no place for him to get a Fire Flower, so he's just gonna have to kill Ludwig the old-fashioned way.
He got the midway tape, so he can't even go get a shell.
Yeah,
And the Koopas are kicking away all the shells.
he's trying to get a shell. I don't blame him. Getting a shell is way, way better here than trying to deal with all the stuff.
Oh
Goodness.
But it's kind of...
Oh no!
And he kicked it.
Away.
This is the concept.
Oh man.
This
That
is...
sucks.
This is Super Mario World.
This-
You know,
Man,
Truman
this
has
is-
been
Juggle gameplay.
Oh man.
this is sad because Umar was on big PB pace, but I guess that's his turn to blow up.
Yeah. You hate to see it.
Man,
Yeah.
Honestly.
That really sucks because in that where he was, like enemies just keep swooping in, and then you have to grab a shell, and you're a small Mario. That's pretty much hell.
Yeah, the Super Koopas really make that stage pretty awful, but, you know.
Those guys are all RNG too, so
Yep.
even if for some reason you had practiced this happening, they're just gonna show up in random spots and you have no idea where they're gonna be.
Yep.
That's
Bad level.
And it looks like the generator... Well, maybe not. Maybe... Okay. So the first time Umar re-entered this level, he like activated the Super Koopa generator before going to the left, so that's why the Koopas were all over him. That time he went straight to the left. And that's why it was a little
mission
easier.
accomplished.
Yeah.
Alright, he's back on track now.
Back on track. Definitely gave Louis a lot of time to catch up, but
Mhm.
Louis still a little bit behind. It's about halfway through the auto-scroller.
It's okay, I can still beat it.
So Ludwig's castle here is pretty interesting. With Cape, you just deboost and dive bomb to kill all the stuff that's on the ground. But without Cape, you kind of have to navigate through the ball and chains and all that fun stuff. So it's a little more interesting. And room 2 is you just have to run now instead of flying through this
Run
part.
left. What is this?
That's so
Yeah, it's-
cursed, dude.
That's pretty whack, honestly.
Who pushes left on a Super Nintendo controller?
Who does that? Except for every flyover stage in this game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tap left.
Yeah.
Tap left.
Navigating those cages is not free either. It's actually pretty difficult. Umar did a decent job there. But here you can see Ludwig is doing his thing. You can do a little bit of a cycle skip there. If you hit him mid-air for the second hit, he actually won't go back into his shell, and you can hit him immediately for the third hit. But that still loses time over not having Fire Flower, for sure.
Ludwig in particular is pretty slow without fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Louis opted for a screen scroll strat at the beginning of Ludwig. Not sure if that's faster or if it breaks even or anything, but it's an option for sure. I don't really like that strat. Scrolling the screen to the left is always really hard, because if you're not facing to the left, for whatever reason, it's way harder to scroll the screen. So you have to like jump and turn around and then scroll. So it's a lot of inputs. And I'm not good at inputs.
Unless they're left.
So FY here, you actually have to take kind of a weird route compared to 96 through Forest. And again, that's just because you want Blue Yoshi for Forest Secret Area. And during Yoshi clips in FY2, you ditch Yoshi, so you want to actually get FSA done quickly, and then you can go back and do everything else. It doesn't lose a whole lot, if any, overworld time. It's just a different option. And it just makes more sense for this category.
The Forest of Illusion Ghost House always confused me as a kid. To get the two exits was pretty confusing.
Yeah,
This
it's...
one's hard.
It
We have-
confuses like many year-long runners too.
Yeah, no,
Nobody can remember which is which.
Yeah, whenever... I mean, I can speak for myself for sure. Whenever I take breaks from the game and come back and do a run, I'm always like, oh my god, what door do I have to get? And then I always get the wrong one every single time. But we have, like,
I don't blame you.
fun little catchphrases. In 96, like, you do the far door first, and in 95, you do the first door first.
Don't
But-
get those two confused.
Yeah, don't mix up the mnemonics, or else you're gonna be doing the wrong stuff.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. That stage is also way more interesting without a cape, by the way, because with cape, you can just skip basically the whole level by flying over the big vertical wall. But without a cape, you have to go through room 2.
You can even clip through the ceiling at the beginning if you
That is true.
are really good at the game.
What level
And, like-
is more interesting without the cape?
Good point. So now that Umar has done Forest 4 Secret, the next stage here is the Fabled Forest Secret area. And like we were talking about, you need the blue Yoshi so you can grab this first shell. Unfortunately, it's a red shell. And
Oh,
yeah, that can also happen.
Nice.
I was actually just about to say it's possible to not grab it, and then you have to do a crazy backup strat, and Umar decided to show that off for me.
Yo,
So
grats on clearly
Pretty wild.
invented backup.
That's a big dick recovery, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's huge dick recovery. It's super scary, but it's usually okay.
yeah. If he didn't grab that guy, he's dead.
Yeah. That's definitely one of the backup strats that you want to practice. But timing the tongue and the jump there is pretty strange, because you don't do them at the same time. You tongue just a little bit before you jump there. So if you mistime it, you have to do what Umar did. But it looks like Louis got the red guy immediately.
Shout out to Red Guy.
Shoutouts to the red guy. Also, in Forest Fortress here, in 96 at this point, you've gotten all 4 of the Switch Palaces, but we haven't done Blue Switch yet in this run, so there's actually some holes in the ground. You have to be careful. If you're not paying attention, you'll just walk right into them. Which is another thing that people tend to forget after coming back to the category after a while. Jumping onto that, whatever that platform is called, that little triangle thing, It's pretty tough. You have to do a very short jump, and then you also have to do a quick left-right midair. And if you don't time it right, you will either land too far to the right and not run up the wall, or get hit by the saw.
The diagonal Mario generator.
And then doing the Reznor, or on the Japanese version, Bui Bui fights as Small Mario can be pretty spooky. You saw that Umar hit a platform and then got warped to the left. And that literally only happens when you're small. And it's... do we know why that happens even? Like it just kind of happens sometimes.
Game programmed bad.
It happens to the SMW.
That's a good answer. Thank you, Dots.
Yeah, I like Daw's answer.
Curious if Umar is going to go for a Fire Flower here, but I guess not. So there's one more boss that it is helpful to have fire for. And that boss is Roy, coming up at the end of Forest. There might be more chances to get a Fire Flower. I'm not sure if he will get one, but it's really... You need 2 in 95, because you have to do a damage boost to go through that stage. So if you don't have a second Fire Flower, it's really not worth it to get one. Louis might get another Fire Flower, because he already has one. So we'll see what he decides to do. Sometimes you kind of have to make stuff up on the fly like that. If you take a hit somewhere, you kind of have to decide, is it worth it to get these Fire Flowers? Is it not?
My guess is he's probably going to grab one in FY1.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. So Umar just did the Yoshi clip. That trick is a whole lot of BS, basically. So it's sub-pixel based, which there's a manipulation for, but every time you dismount Yoshi, the sub-pixel changes. So you can kind of know what your sub-pixel is based on how you've dismounted and whatnot. But after a while, especially if Yoshi lands on the ground, it's pretty much a free-for-all. And even in the best-case scenario, even if you have the best sub-pixel possible, it's still a 75% chance that you actually get the clip, because it's based on some sort of frame rule too. So you saw Louis just got kicked out twice in a row, which is epic.
That's a 1 in 16 chance there. And then he just drops Yoshi, and when Yoshi's bouncing on the ground like that, his sub-pixel just basically gets randomized, so there's no more... Once Yoshi's on the ground, there's no more manip you can do, really.
Yeah. And you saw Umar do a wall jump there. Wall jumps are also sub-pixel based, and a little bit of speed based, but mostly sub-pixels. And if you just hold right and Y from the beginning of the stage, your sub-pixel is set up such that getting that wall jump is pretty easy. All you have to do is just land on the right pixel.
Wow, it's that easy.
Yeah, it's that easy, and you have to hit B on the right frame.
Anybody can do it, just press B.
Just press B on the right frame and land on the right pixel.
Get it, forehead.
It's literally that easy. No, but it is actually more consistent to get that wall clip, because there's a good visual cue for the jump up to the pipe. So, no memes, it actually is fairly consistent. As long
Way
as you
easier than any other random wall jump that you're gonna do.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Shoutouts to doing random wall jumps.
It is actually possible to get a wall clip as the boss fade outs are happening, and if you do it at the right time, Mario just stands on the wall. So it looks pretty cool. It's purely for swag.
The noblest cause.
Indeed. Dude, that first jump in the top part of Forest Ghost House is really weird. It's like even if you do the shortest jump, you always hit the wall there. It's really dumb. So Umar's going back to FY1, which means we need another Yoshi. And he might actually get Fire Flower here too. We'll see what happens. There's a roulette block about halfway through the level, which is... You have to do kind of a weird turnaround to get the Fire Flower, but he might do it. We'll see what happens. Yeah, he did go for it. He went for the easier but more risky because it could have been a cape strat. But you can actually just bounce off of that Koopa and stick your tongue out while facing left and grab the fire, which is... You're a lot less likely to get cape that way because the fire will not have been on screen for as long. But doing it the way that Umar did is totally fine as well. So I'd imagine Louis will also get that fire flower.
Yeah, Rezi is mentioning that neither runners are going for wings. It is possible to get wings in this level by duping either the P-Balloon block or the key block in this level. But both dupes you have to do like off the side of the ledge because both the blocks are like right on the edge. You have to like swoop around and dupe it, which is not difficult when you have a cape, but without cape it's really hard and it's really easy just to die after handling it. Or you can go get the springboard and like precisely place it on the edge so that you can like bounce off the edge of the ledge, but I don't think anybody really does that and runs because it's kind of dumb.
Yeah. In theory, you could save time doing FY1 wings, but it would be really, really, really stupid. Umar did not get the ump, but he is standing on that cloud, which looks pretty cool.
Alright, that's 2. If Louis gets this one, we're tied on yumps.
That is true. A lot of pressure on Louis for this yump, honestly.
Yeah, this is honestly like more important than the race.
I mean, it is part of the race, so...
So there, you saw Umar that time got the wall clip, but he didn't actually get the jump, which means he didn't press B on the right frame. But you notice that Mario went from like his jumping animation thing with his feet back. I don't really know how to call that. But then when he hit the wall, it just looked like he was falling and his feet were down. So you lose all your P speed when you get a wall clip. And don't wall jump.
Dude,
Louis got the ump. Very good.
There,
Important.
Alright, he does not have...
the comeback was real, as it turns out.
Huge comeback. He's a god gamer. Okay, so the beginning of Castle 5 here is an auto-scroller, because you have to wait for this this block snake. With a cape, you know, fly through the whole section, obviously. But without a cape, you can't do that. So you just have to wait for this.
Back. We found the one level that's more interesting with cape.
Yep. Actually, the whole level is way more interesting with cape, and arguably more difficult. But after you wait for this block snake, gotta scroll the screen here so you can kind of manipulate those fireballs, but also so that the item you're gonna drop out of your item box is in a better position for Mario to grab. And that's why I was talking about needing 2 fire flowers for the boss kill here. Because you have to take that first hit anyway to skip that whole Dorito section. So grabbing the second fire flower is only worth it if you cannot lose a lot of time grabbing it. Otherwise, you can just come in here with 1 power-up and it's no big deal. But it's cool looking damage boost, that's for sure.
It is a cool damage boost strat though. But the cape is more impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, you have to do a pretty you have to do a pretty precise dive bomb to get under all those Podoboos in the first part. But it's not too bad with practice. Louis almost ran off the left side of that.
On the very left pixel of that platform.
Yeah. So you can start to build up your P meter on that platform, which is what he was doing. But if you run too far to the left, which is easier to do than you'd think because the block snake is also moving to the right, if you run too far left, you fall off and die. Which you don't want to do. Umar jumped over the Louis Canyon there. If you lose P-speed, you have to jump from the green pipe across that big gap, and Louis died in there in a run like a week ago. So we call it the Louis Canyon, and nobody else has ever died in that gap, and it definitely was not me. It's not called the Brams Canyon. That's fake. That never happened. Alright, Choco Ghost House is another pretty interesting damage boost. It doesn't happen until room 2 though. So there's a really strange section in room 2 where you have to go upwards, and I think the intended way to do it is to take these like weird boo block platform things.
Boo blocks.
Is that what they're called? Boo blocks?
Boo blocks.
Boo blocks, yes. And you're supposed to take them up to the door. It's these little gray things right there. You're supposed to take them with you, but you can actually just deboost through this line, or you can do a tiny screen scroll and barely squeeze between it and the wall. Both are pretty acceptable strats.
Thank you,
Boo
Lee.
blocks. I prefer just to do the damage boost, because it's a lot easier. So Chocolate Island 2 is a weird stage, and the normal exit is a lot weirder than the secret exit. I'll explain why later, I suppose, but generally for secret exit, you want to go really fast, and for normal exit, you kind of have to slow down a little bit. I'll leave that as a cliffhanger, so it's extremely exciting when we get there in a few minutes.
Going slow in a speed run? Come on!
The key room here is actually really nice in 95 because you have all those switch blocks, so you can just jump over the chucks instead of having to go through them. Sometimes you have to go slow to go fast. I agree. Choco's Secret is another dumb level. Not a fan of this one.
Yeah, so,
Football chucks are pretty
what was
bad.
the last thing? Oh yeah, we were talking about the bullet bills in Vanilla Dome 4 being dependent on the global frame timer. Well, the footballs that these guys kick are also dependent on the global frame timer, so you don't know when they're actually going to kick footballs.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be standing in front of them, the moment they decide to kick a football, it just spawns inside of you and you get hit.
Yep. It's really dumb. And on top of that, after they throw the footballs, they bounce at random heights too. So that's fun. Yeah, you can kind of do like a YOLO strat at the beginning of Choco's Secret. It's pretty wild. Take an intentional hit there. You don't need the fire flower anymore, so it's actually totally fine to take a hit and just grab a mid-tape or something. Roy was the last boss we needed fire for. So you have to do a little bit of backtracking on the overworld here, but you'd have to do that anyway, because that's the only way to get up to Choco's Secret. So now for the normal exit of CI2. This level is strange in that casually, you might get a bunch of different room combinations every time you play it. And that's because you have to get certain amounts of coins and dragon coins, and also some rooms are based on the timer itself. So you actually don't want to enter the pipe at the end of this room until 249 on the timer. If you enter it at 250, it'll take you to the room that had the key, and that's bad because we already got secret exit, and we just need normal exit now.
Yeah, that's incorrect. Slow, not the way you want to go.
Yeah, so that's why Umar was just sitting there waiting for a little bit.
Yeah, this level's weird. There's like a million different rooms.
Yeah. So you see right there, Umar actually went back for a dragon coin, so he would have a more desirable last room here. If you don't get that dragon coin, you get a room that has about 600,000 Rexes, and it's really laggy. And also, he got a P-switch jump that was pretty cool.
Yep, I saw that.
Not to be confused with the Yump, by the way. P-switch jump.
I was about to make that
Yes.
clarification.
Very important to know. P-switch jump is different than a Yump.
smwspeedruns.com/yump.
It's a very important
Very
thing on the wiki.
important article to read.
So, Chocolate Island 3 is another flyover, but you have to recycle the shell like I talked about way earlier in the run. And this is a very stressful stage to do that in because there is not a whole lot of ground. So if you miss the shell, you kind of have to pray so that you don't fall into the void and die.
Whoa.
Get it?
Whoa.
Do you understand that reference?
No, I do not. Can you
Let me
explain
let
to
me
me?
let me ask the streamer if he gets it.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Streamer. Do you get it?
This is Ban Hyrule.
Yo, hard agree.
So grabbing the blue Koopa at the beginning of the stage is another kind of tricky Koopa grab, similar to Forest Secret Area. But it's not nearly as costly if you miss it, because there are a ton of other blue Koopas in the level that you can get. Also, if you didn't have Yoshi for this stage, you would have to do a whack double shell jump to get to the secret exit. But luckily we can use our boy Josh to fly to the further gold tape.
Hi, Josh.
Choco Fort is another pretty cool stage. This stage is interesting with and without cape. So there's a lot of stuff that can really screw you over in this level. Mainly the pencils at the start and all these fireballs that are coming at you towards the end of the room one. But Umar made it through pretty well. It's very, very difficult to make it through that last pencil section without either getting skewered or losing all your P-speed. So it's generally a pretty safe thing to just land in between the last two sets of pencils. Then room 2 here is less straightforward than with cape. You have to jump over these little spike pits, but it's not too bad. Room 1 is the hard room in this level. Also, both of the runners intentionally took a hit so they can make it under one of the pencils. Louis just did that. There's a lot more intentional damage in 95 than in other categories. So this level, CI4, is really, really fun and one of the most fun stages with cape. And without cape, it sucks. This level's so
Hey,
bad. Nope,
not
you're
that
not allowed to talk. You're not allowed to talk right now. This level is so bad.
It could.
It could be Mondo.
Dots is about to defend this level, but I will not let him do it because it's so bad and you just have to do neutral jumps. It's not fun.
Neutral jumps are
I wanna
fun.
hear his defense about this level.
Without cape, honestly, yeah, I would rather play Mondo than this level.
Holy shit.
Anyway, the reason why this level is interesting, I'll use that word, is that there's really nowhere to get P-speed here. So you can just like walk through the level, or you can slide, and sliding down a slope, like these 45-degree slopes in this level, actually makes Mario, like, gets him up to speed as if you were running. So you want to like slide down as many slopes as you can, and then jump without pressing right, which would actually slow you down.
Mhm.
And so it's a really interesting way of playing to try not to use the D-pad as much as possible to go through the level quickly.
Yeah. It's certainly interesting.
It's a lot of fun. You should try it yourself.
Whatever. It's a bad take.
I think the level's okay.
Level's okay.
Hey, Louis almost lost his Yoshi. It's actually, you can just go right back into this level and get him, but still a little spooky. And Castle 6, Umar took an intentional hit at the beginning to make it through the first cycle of those crushers. I believe you can make it without taking damage, especially if you're small, but it's hard though.
Heck those crushers.
And room 2 is pretty complicated platforming. But he made it through. Then Wendy will appear in random pipes. Well, it's not random every time, it's random patterns. But it's still hard to predict. But you can actually see her feet. They appear below the pipe in which she will appear for only a few frames. So you gotta wipe off the glasses and really pay attention if you want to know where she's gonna spawn. Lemmy does the same thing too, which was the Castle 3 boss.
I'd say that even though both runners are like one cutscene apart, I think Louis still has a shot. So it's not
I think
over.
he does too. I mean, he did just get a best segment for World 6. That's worth mentioning.
By point
But-
one.
Dope.
Hey, man, best segment is best segment. But yeah, it's still really within anybody's grasp. There are still a lot of things that can go wrong. Well, there's always stuff that can go wrong, I guess. But there's still a fair amount of things that can go really wrong and lose somebody a lot of time. So it's definitely not over yet. It's not over till it's over. So Umar intentionally got knocked off of Yoshi in this room, and that's just to set up this boo cloud in a good position such that a boo ring later in the room will not spawn. And it looks like he's going to get it. There's a visual cue there that you can tell. So there's supposed to be a boo ring right here where he's going underneath this big wall, but there was not one because he despawned it. Now, Louis didn't get hit off of Yoshi, and it's also possible just to delay your movement just by not holding the D-pad as well.
And there's something interesting at the end of that stage. We all know what it is.
We do know what it is, and quickly before Umar grabs it, this room that he's in is actually pretty laggy, so there's some lag reduction strats that you definitely want to do. And there it is. Orb.
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 That was a saying orb there was a pretty interesting meme started by none other than Dots Are Cool. Back in
I didn't know who started it, so thank you. Thank you for this piece of lore.
Wait,
I don't want to take credit for that. I didn't start it. I started eating your mic when you say it.
Right. I credit that to starting the meme. So there was I don't know if it was an off run you did, but there was a YouTube video of one of Dots' runs, and he wasn't using mic, and then all of a sudden when he grabbed the orb, like, you heard him go, orb. It was like, whoa! It was pretty spooky.
Alright.
People do that all the time now.
Yeah. It really took off.
I think that started the whole orb phenomenon.
And now people say it way too much during the GDQs.
Only one orb. This is my platform.
I feel like, how did it start being said so much during GDQs? It's definitely not because of SMW.
Yeah, I think like somebody just said orb at one GDQ, and then like the chat said it a lot, and then at the next GDQ, people in the stream room started saying it, and it just kind of exponentially took off from there.
Yeah.
But the one and only orb that will always be in my heart will be the one in Sunken Ship.
Yes.
The real
Mine as
one.
well.
The
The one
OG.
and only.
You
The old
orb.
of course.
Let me get my cane and shake my stick.
So Valley Ghost House here is fairly interesting without Cape. Normally for the secret exit, you would just go left in this room, but that isn't the play. Without Cape, you actually need to grab this P-switch and use this coin snake to get up. Well, you don't have to. You can bounce on the boos, but it's fairly difficult. So normally you just use the P-switch and this coin snake to get up to the key here.
Easy.
Actually, interesting. Yep, Louis gonna try to go for the boo bounce because he's small.
And he's a god gamer.
He is a god gamer.
Yeah.
It is definitely way easier to do small because there's only a, excuse me, a one tile gap up there, which is hard to get into when you're big. So there you go, Louis did it.
Got it. Even
Yeah,
with
you gotta do a crouch jump.
Oh, you have to get into the gap off screen? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a gamer strat for sure.
Yeah. Big dick gamer strat. That made him caught up to Umar a little bit right there for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. It saves a lot of time because you don't have to run all the way to the right, and you also don't have to wait for the,
For the coin snake, yeah.
So it's big time save, but it's pretty hard.
Now the race is getting more interesting.
That it is.
Are you implying the race wasn't interesting? Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm in,
This Ben Hyrule.
I've been interested the whole time. I just want to say that.
I am interested.
Thank
in
you.
this.
Fob 3 sucks. Can we talk about that for a minute? This stage
It's
is
a
so
terrible
bad.
level.
Like,
Yes, it sucks. I can't even. From a middle perspective, I still don't like that stage.
yeah, you want to try to boost yourself on these platforms as much as possible, but it's really hard to line up the jumps and all that crap. I don't
Even
like
with
this
Cape,
level.
there's pipes that go up to the ceiling, and you can't even fly over it.
Yep.
Below ceiling?
Yes, actually, when the screen can't, like in some levels, like in VD4 or in Vob 4 that Umar's in now, you'll notice that the camera scrolls up a bit because the level's tall. There's some levels like Vob 3 which don't scroll up because they're short, and in those levels there's like an invisible ceiling that you can't fly over. So the pipe, like you actually can't fly over those pipes.
Fob 4 is a fun stage. More fun with Cape, but still pretty good without. So
The
actually,
secret
fun
exit in
fact.
this level is the only one that you need Yoshi for.
Yep. You beat
Is that what you were gonna say?
Yep, I was going to say that.
Yeah, that key is pretty stuck in those blocks.
And
Only Yoshi's tongue can grab it.
something that can go horribly, horribly wrong in a run is getting hit and losing Yoshi, like after you grab the mid tape. If you do that, you can't get the key, so you'll have to get normal exit. But if you do it again, and the second time you're coming through and you hit the mid tape, if you come back in, you start halfway through the level, so you can't get the Yoshi at the beginning. So you actually have to backtrack to CI5 to get Yoshi, which is bad.
Yeesh.
Damn.
Because you do need Yoshi.
That's a long walk for Yabi.
Definitely a long walk. So Castle 7 is another kind of auto-scrolly sort of thing. You have to wait for this block snake. But you can do a pretty interesting skip. Umar's going to wait here on this block for a while. And the coin, or not the coin snake, the block snake will catch up to him. And you can jump from this block to the snake, and then up to that ball and chain that you can see barely off screen. And then you can just hop over here, take a D-boost, and then you can either go in that door at the top or come down here for some backup power-ups for room 2 here. And room 2 is awful. You have to pretty much rely on Magic Koopa spawning in the right place and hitting the wall. And you can get a shell and use it for that second wall, but not every time will you get a Koopa. There's a small chance that you get a thwimp from the magic hitting those blocks. And I believe there's also a chance you get nothing.
You get a coin, Thwimp, Koopa, or a 1-up.
You can get a 1-up doing that?
1 out of 256 chance.
I've never even seen that in my life.
Nice odds.
You can also get regular mushrooms, can't you?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't
yeah,
think so.
I think.
Not,
Just 1-ups.
I don't think from the magic hitting the throw block, or the turn blocks. I don't think so.
I don't know, man.
But that's
I
Castle 7. They're pretty even. Still less than a cutscene apart now. They were one cutscene apart before. But
And we got Sandbar Clip coming up, so...
yes, the
Oh,
big bar is
Mm,
coming
big
up.
bar.
So
Big bar.
you can clip through the sandbar in Vob 2 and save a cycle, which is 12 seconds. But it is a tight jump. It's a 2-frame trick. And, you know, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming they're both going to go for it.
Yeah. I'm gonna laugh so hard if Umar gets a 131-41 in this run, because he's already
Me
got
too.
2 of them, and he's on pace to get another one.
Yep.
He's 4.5 seconds ahead of his PB going into this level.
So one thing to mention about sandbars, you need to be at least Big Mario, so that's why Louis grabbed the mid-tape there.
Okay, so Umar went for it, but I don't know what went wrong for him to get that outcome.
Yeah, so if you hit A too late, you just slide through. But if you hit A too early, you will...
You get crushed? Okay.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
hit A too early.
Literally tied.
Yeah. So this clip that Louis is doing right here is, you literally just have to stand in the corner and it doesn't save time. It just looks cool. But
Swag.
they're tied
Nice.
now, so
Yeah.
that's cool. That's one thing about sandbar in races is that it can even the odds if one person gets it and one person doesn't. So now it comes down to RN jump here. It is possible to make it up. Ooh, Umar did, and Louis did. Oh my god! Okay, so it's possible to make it up there. It's a very small chance. It's based on Mario's speed, which actually oscillates every single frame. So if you jump with a higher speed, you get a taller jump, and if you jump with, I think you need 49 speed for that, you will make it up there. And if you don't jump with high speed, you have to wait for the sandbar to push you up. So that was pretty sick. Both of them got it.
Come on.
Pretty rare. So then this level involves just keeping P speed throughout the whole thing, which involves a lot of turning around at the start and then bouncing on these potaboos.
Yeah, the little zigzag jumps.
The end, you can keep P speed through this end part with the crushers, but it is very stupid. So nobody really does it, and it doesn't really save a whole lot of time. It saves maybe 1 game second.
Option.
So Bui was kind to both of them as well. So now it comes down to the Bowser fight.
Yep. After an hour and a
a
half,
second
we
or
are
less.
tied going into backdoor. So, very good race, to say the least.
Indeed. Not much to say about Dark Room other than it's dark.
Yep.
If you have a
No,
bad
you don't
TV,
say.
if you have a bad TV, it's possible that you literally can't see anything.
Yeah. Also, don't turn the lights on.
Also, Louis, don't worry, I did see that. If you hit down and duck 1 frame before hitting up and entering the door, so down and on the very next frame hit up, Mario will be ducking when he enters the door. It looks cool. That's all I have to say about that. But Louis and I were talking about that earlier. So. Don't worry, Louis, I saw.
So hey, how about these the ball skips?
Yeah, so you'll notice that both of the runners kind of had 2 phase 1s, and that's just because you want an extra Mecha Koopa here, and you use these to skip one of the bowling balls that Bowser throws down at you, as well as some bounces in phase 3. So they'll keep this guy alive here, and if you time your throw correctly, you'll hit Bowser in like a specific time, so that for whatever reason he will not throw a second ball. So you saw he threw 1 there, and he's supposed to throw 2, which would happen right now, but if they timed it right, he'll just throw more Mecha Koopas, which ends up saving a lot of time. And then in phase 3, he'll like stomp the ground, and normally he would stomp the ground 8 times, but if you do the same skip, he'll only do that 5 times. So it seems like they're losing time in the start by having 2 phase 1s, but it actually saves time overall to do the ball skip and the stomp skip, I guess you could call it. So count the bounces, and you'll only do 5. Wow.
You guys called it.
How close?
Wow.
I think
So-
Umar still had it by like less than a second.
Yeah, I think Umar definitely still won by a tiny, tiny margin, but wow. So
Wow.
he did.
By 1 second.
Ooh, nice.
What a ridiculous
Also
race.
PB for Umar too by 7 seconds. By
Yeah,
6.9 seconds, I should say.
Yes, 6.9 second PB for Umar.
Nice.
Very nice.
Nice run.
Very base.
Man, that
Yeah,
was awesome.
great race overall. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there's Umar. Hey, Umar.
Nice run.
Congrats on
Nice
the
run,
PB.
Umar.
Nice
Thank you,
run.
thank you. That was certainly a race.
How were you
was
feeling
without a
in
doubt.
Butterbridge 2?
Yeah, can we talk about that?
That was like the worst decision making I've ever made.
It was a blow up for sure.
Yeah.
But hey, that was sick, dude. And you
Yep.
didn't get a 131-41.
Pretty good. Now I get Louis VIP, right?
I guess so,
that's how
yeah.
it works.
Oh snap!
Well, Louis, I guess you're finished.
By 1 second, nonetheless.
Louis canceled.
That was ridiculous. I have never seen an SMW race
Whoa,
as
he's
tight
giving
as
away
this
his
one.
VIP and getting another one.
Louis was ready for this outcome.
He was. He was saving up those channel points.
He's been lurking in the shadows.
Yeah. Alright. But yeah, thank you guys so much for this race and for the commentary. That was really awesome.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
That
I
was
had a blast.
Well, and I hope everyone in the chat enjoyed the race.